Hey friends, welcome to Stitchflix, where we slow down and crochet something beautiful together. Today you are going to be learning the moss stitch. What I'm showing you right now is a blanket I'm currently making for myself. It's actually an interactive series you can find here on my channel, and I will link the playlist down below if you'd like to be a part of it. What makes it interactive is that my subscribers are the ones choosing what color each row will be. So if you want to be part of that journey, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any little video. For this video, I'm going to just be using a solid color. I'm not going to switch colors or anything. We're going to keep it simple. So I've got a weight 4 yarn, and I'm going to be using a 5mm hook. I do not have the label for this. All I know is it's from Hobby Lobby. So whatever yarn you decide to use, just make sure you're using the hook it recommends on the label. You will also need some scissors, a stitch marker, and a yarn needle. We're going to begin by placing a slip knot on our hook. So grab your yarn, flip it over itself, put your fingers in there. I'm not very good at describing how to make a slip knot, so I'm sorry. But you're just going to make a little loop. It's probably easier without the fingers, I'm not sure. And then grab this yarn, pull it through that loop, and then just pull the tails to tighten that knot at the bottom. Make sure you've got it nice and snug, and then slip it on your hook and just pull tight. There's your slip knot, and it's on your hook. So we're going to begin by chaining an even number. I have heard that you can chain odd for moss stitch. I've never done that. I've always chained even, so that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So to chain, you're going to yarn over your hook, pull through, that's one chain, yarn over, pull through, that's 2 chains, yarn over, pull through, that's 3 chains, yarn over, pull through, that's 4, yarn over, pull through, that's 5, yarn over, pull through, that's 6, yarn over, pull through, that's 7, yarn over, pull through, that's 8. So we have 8 chains so far, and I'm going to show you how to count chains in case you lose track or forget to count to begin with. It happens. So you can see that these look like little V's. If I turn it this way, it looks more like a V. These look like V's. So each V is 1 chain. And the loop on your hook never counts. So we're going to go from the hook and count backwards down. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how you count chains, just in case you ever lose track. So for the sake of this tutorial, I am going to chain 18. So that means we need 10 more. Yarn over, pull through, that's 9. Yarn over, pull through, that's 10. Yarn over, pull through, 11. Yarn over, pull through, that's 12. Yarn over, pull through, that's 13. Yarn over, pull through, 14. Yarn over, pull through, 15. Yarn over, pull through, 16. Yarn over, pull through, 17. Yarn over, pull through, 18. We've got 18 chains on our hook. Now we're going to start our first row. So the loop again on your hook does not count. So this is the first chain. We're going to skip that. We're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. I can't speak. Then you're going to yarn over, and pull through. So we made 1 single crochet followed by a chain. And that's all you're going to do for this entire pattern, a single crochet followed by a chain. So you're going to skip the next stitch, just like we skipped the first, and you're going to go into the second stitch. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, then you're going to chain 1. Now before we get any further, I want to show you where we made that first single crochet. We skipped a stitch, and it's hard to see, but it's there. So right before your single crochet, this is our first single crochet. Let me see if I can show you a little better. So we've got, this doesn't count because that's what's on our hook. We've got a chain, a single crochet, a chain, and a single crochet. So in here, you're gonna put a stitch marker because that first stitch counts as a chain, and you'll see why we need to mark it when we get to the end of the row, or when we go back down that row. So let's continue on. We just made a chain, so we're going to skip the first stitch, go into the second, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, chain 1. We're going to do that all the way down. So you're going to skip the next one, insert your hook into the one after, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops, yarn over to chain 1. Skip the next one, insert your hook into the next one after, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and then chain 1. Skip the next stitch, go into the one after. My chain is a little bit tight, that's why I'm using my other hand. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1. If your chain is too tight, like mine is a little bit too tight, or I'm having to help myself through it, you can always make your chain with a bigger hook. So you could have chained with a 6mm and then gone down to the 5.5 when we started the single crochets. Just a little tip for you. You can do that for any pattern. You can always make the chain with a slightly bigger hook. So we're going to skip the next one, go into the one after, insert our hook, pull up a loop, 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and then chain 1. So we've got 4 chains left. We're going to skip this first one, go into the second, insert our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to chain 1, 2 chains left. You're going to skip first, go into the last chain, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And yes, there's no more chains left, but we're still going to chain 1. And then you're just going to turn your work. So just flip it over. And then where this chain is, you're going to want to put a stitch marker. So grab your other stitch marker and just put it around that chain we just made so we don't lose it. So you can see it's, sorry, I'm a little blurry. It's just around that chain. So after you've chained 1, you've turned your work, this is the first single crochet, and that's from the row below. It's the last single crochet we made. You're going to skip it, and you're going to go into the chain space after it, insert your hook, pull up a loop, so 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Then you're going to chain 1, because we always chain 1 after our single crochet. So in the next, you're going to skip the next single crochet, and you're going to go into the chain space that's right after it, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops, chain 1. So you're going to skip all of the single crochets, and you're going to single crochet into the chain spaces from the previous rows. So let's finish going down here. Next chain space, we're going to single crochet, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, chain 1 after the single crochet. Skip the next single crochet, go into that chain space, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through. So single crochet, chain, single crochet, chain. You're going to do that all the way down. Let's finish the row, and I'll show you what to do once we get to the end where the stitch marker is. So chain space, we're going to single crochet, insert our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, skip the single crochet, go into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, chain 1, skip the next single crochet, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, chain 1, skip the next single crochet, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, chain 1. Now where your stitch marker is, just leave it there because you don't want to lose that. Mine is tight, so it's hard to see. But where your stitch marker is, you're going to insert your hook and pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both. So that would be our last single crochet of the row. After you make that single crochet, you can remove your stitch marker. And like I said, had I used a bigger hook, it would have been easier to see that last space. So this is what we have. For every chain space, we make a single crochet, and then we skip each single crochet of the previous row and make a chain space above it instead. So it might be a little bit easier to see it on here. I feel like the color change kind of helps with that. So where you see a single crochet, these are all my single crochets. They were made into the chain spaces of the previous row. And you're just going to repeat that pattern and it'll look like this. So we've made our last single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So flip it over and then add your stitch marker if you need it. I'm going to do it for the sake of this video. I don't normally, but I just want to show you so that you know how to find that space again later. And then we're just going to repeat what we did. So we're going to skip the first single crochet because we chained 1 for it. We're going to insert a hook, yarn over, pull through 2. So a single crochet. So we're going to do that all the way down the row again. When I get to the end, I'll slow down, but I'm just going to go through this normal-ish speed. Okay, so I'm at the spot where my stitch marker is. This is a single crochet. Again, they look like V's, just like when you chained. The V's right now, when you're looking at it flat, are single crochets. So where my stitch marker is, I'm going to insert my hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's the last single crochet of the row. Now I can remove my stitch marker. I'm gonna chain 1, turn my work, put that stitch marker around that chain so I don't lose it. And now I'm on to my 3rd row. So I'm gonna skip that single crochet, insert my hook into the chain space, and make a single crochet there. Chain 1, skip the single crochet, go in the chain space. And you're just going to do this until you think you've mastered it, basically. So when I get to the end, I'll show you again. I feel like that can be the tricky spot because sometimes it's hard to see where that chain 1 is, especially if you're not using a stitch marker. But when you get fairly good at this stitch, you might not even need them anymore. So where I'm at, I made my last chain. This is the last single crochet of the row. I'm gonna put my hook where the stitch marker is. Whoops, that's my single crochet. See what I'm saying? Insert my hook into that chain space, which it's tight. Yarn over, pull up my loop, yarn over, pull through 2, single crochet. So that is the moss stitch. So when you're done with your swatch, I already cut my yarn, so ignore that, pretend I haven't. You will have made your last single crochet. You're just gonna yarn over, pull through, pull that really tight, and then you're gonna weave in your ends. So I like to just put my yarn on my hook, and then I like to go inside the single crochets. So I'm gonna enter through this way, go behind, oops, sorry, that's blurry, go behind the single crochet bars, the little V's, and just weave it through however far. And then if you want it to be extra secure, you can go back through the opposite way. I just go down a row, same thing, behind the V's, pull it out, and then you can just cut your tail and do the same thing with the starting chain. There's our little moss stitch swatch. Looks the same front and back, so there really is no right or wrong side. I know some crochet stitches, there can be a right and a wrong side, but when it's moss stitch, no, doesn't matter. So this is great for blankets, scarves. I have even made a book sleeve using a moss stitch, which this is the book sleeve I made. And yes, this was with a variated yarn. And again, you can see just the difference between using solid for a moss stitch, changing up every row, or a variated stitch. I think they're all really pretty. I think this one looks great, especially with the yarn that I used. Again, something from Hobby Lobby. If you'd like to make a book sleeve with me, let me know down below, and I will work on making a tutorial for that if you're interested. So I just put a button on mine and a little chain loop, and yes, there's a book in it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching episode 2 of Stitchflix. Don't forget to subscribe and come back next week to see what new stitch we will be working on. Bye guys!